Oh, Minecraft. It's so sad. It's been around for a long period of time, but now it's forgotten. No biomes, no mobs, no updates. It's really sad. Oh wait. Sorry, wrong game. Minecraft 1.17 is finally here, and with it comes tons of updates. Well, actually, it's not here, but it's been announced, so I call that here. It's going to be one of the biggest updates because it not only adds caves, one of the much requested features of all time in the Minecraft community, well, cave update. You might have heard cave update phrase a lot because its caves are really bad right now. It also adds updates to the mountains, which was announced in the last biome vote, the community vote for the mountains. And if that wasn't already enough, it also adds a plethora of small things like archaeology and bundles. Truly a huge update. It's definitely going to be one of the greatest of all time. So, I decided to rank them. Hello, my name's the Amazing Tristeon, and today we'll be ranking all announced additions so far in Minecraft 1.17, the Caves and Cliffs update. Let's get started! Now, how this tier list will work is fairly simple. Here we have 6 tiers. The F tier is the lowest of the low. The D tier, still bad or really useless, but okay. The C tier, may. The B tier, I know that it doesn't really look like a B booster removal. Well, it wasn't actually included, but some better designs aren't in Java. Bedrock, they're only in Java, so it's hard to make a good B. Which is just okay, great, I might use it once in a while. There's A tier, which is, this is a great addition, and there's S tier, which is the best of the best, will completely change the game. And in here, we have all of these. These are all of the major updates I've spotted, from the likes of Amethyst Crystal/Geodes to Glowberries, so pretty nice. And then, if I can find it, oh yeah, well, I'll just take them out of the chest and plop them where I think they go. Okay, so, first of all, we have Amethyst Crystal/Geode. I have to say B tier. Right now, what's really cool is that they can't be moved. It's one of the few items along with structure-specific spawns and like ocean temples or stuff and mob spawners that actually can't be moved. But so far, they only use the telescope, which is useful for us Bedrock players because we don't have a normal we don't have an Optifine because we can't use mods. But for Java players, it'll be pretty much useless, and it's just not that big other than that. However, it could change. And then when I'm done, I'll just plop them away. The next update is oh, I said plop them away. Okay, next update is the telescope. Now, once again, this is kind of similar to the Amethyst Crystal/Geode. It'll be nice for exploring and for getting a view of your build. It'll be good for scenic shots, but nothing much else, so I have to put in B. Next up is copper. I'm counting the ore and the actual blocks. Now, the ore is kind of special. It actually generates in veins instead of just having, well, it normally generates in veins, but normally a vein looks like, wait, yeah, a vein might look like this is an iron vein encased in stone. However, it's not completely clear from the Minecraft Live presentation, which I highly suggest you watch, or at least the edited clips of it. So I can't really comment on that much. But it also has a few uses, most notably well, it has an interesting generation, and copper blocks actually age, so that's a huge cool thing, because in real life copper oxidizes, but right now it only takes about 12 in-game days in order to fully age from orange to blue, and I think it should be like hundreds of days. Like maybe over a few Minecraft years, within a day being 365 out of 65. So I have to say A just because that and the blue copper block looks really pretty. But other than that, I can't really see there being a big use for it. Speaking of the item usage I was talking about earlier, the lightning rod. Now this one is fairly simple, but for those who love building with wooden roofs, or if they have a pig farm, it'll be highly useful. Plus, depending on how it works, it might be very useful for charged creeper farms, so I have to say S tier. And it's crafted with copper, so that's good because it gives another use to it. Next up are the lush caves. Now this one is a new cave biome, and this is what I imagined the cave update would look like. So cool, so I have to once again, say S tier. Next up is the drip leaf plant. Now essentially how this works is, pretend it's the drip leaf plant. You stand on it, and after about 5 seconds the plant falls, which would be really good for parkour. You have to run around a structure fast, because if not, then the entire flooring will collapse. Or you have to that would be useful for like timed sections. If you have this is hard to demonstrate, but if you have a chicken, in a container, chicken in a container like this. If you have a chicken in this container, and then pretend that this trapdoor is a drip leaf plant, and under it is a pressure plate. Under it's a pressure plate, and here is this, and then I just build one more layer, and here goes the chicken. So now we have a simple way to figure out if something is happening. If pretend that the chicken's me, you can just, if it would preferably also work on mobs, because then you could get some situations like, okay, I'm going to destroy this chicken habitat quickly because it's kind of distracting. Yeah, sorry for the extra time. But you could have systems like we have. I'll call this one, if it works on actual mobs, and if it works on all entities, then it'll be super great. If it only works on players, it'll still be great for parkour. But this idea is fairly simple, but it would be very cool. You can just have a simple timer setup, a one-time timer. So you just have pretend that these are drip leaf plants. Okay, drip leaf plant, drip leaf plant, drip leaf, and here, and then down here we have a pressure plate, and then I make it up to the top, and then I close all of these. So now I have a multi-layer security thing, and then I have this, and I can put a chicken here, and after some time it drops through this layer, and then after some time it drops through this layer, and then after some time it drops up this layer, and then after some time it does this layer until it finally lands on the pressure plate. So fairly simplistic, but that would be a really cool addition for map makers, and if it works like that, redstone creators. I seem to have to redestroy this building. Okay, so then I have to say that it is an A. It's cool, but there are some ways you can implement it to make it significantly less cool and not that useful. Next up is the axolotl. Now the first thing I have to say is it's so cute. We saw a concept art and the actual axolotl, and it's so cute. The way axolotls essentially work is that you have the axolotl, and then if you put it, they're found in pools and lush caves, so another feature integration, a feature within a feature. And if you put them in a bucket, then they'll be tamed by you and they'll follow you, and then they attack drowned and elder guardians. Now this would be really useful for me, not the guardians part, but for the drowned. I'm kind of irrationally scared of hostile mobs, so having a little axolotl army would be a great way to counter that. So just for cuteness alone, I have to put a high. Next up, we're out of the lush cave related stuff. Next up, well, mostly, next up is improved cave generation. Now currently, Minecraft caves are really simple. You just have rings of blocks that keep on going. Sometimes you have a bigger room, sometimes you have unintentional waterfalls or little ponds or little puddles, but it's really, really basic. However, with this, you have two new factors. I believe it's how tall the cave is and how wide the cave is, essentially. They showed one in the Minecraft Live event. That was a huge one. There was a huge cave with several exits, and the player flew with an elytra just under, and it was incredibly cool. So all in all, I can't put this in S for one reason. It's not quite S level, because it's one level above, of course. Improved cave generation, there you go. And I'll try not to put anything in like sort of cheaty way there. Next up is a skulk sensor / skulk growth. Now this is huge. Wireless redstone has been one of the biggest requests in the community, and it actually works. Essentially, it can detect vibrations, which we guess will be sounds, and then it'll emit a redstone signal. And then if you want to block sound from coming in, just use wool occlusion in order to stop that from happening. And a basic wireless redstone example that could happen is, say, all of these skulk sensors have, this is what they actually showed in the trailer for it, all of these have trapdoors on its side, and then that connects to one this far away, which receives it and also has a trapdoor, and then that leads to one that's all the way here, which also has a trapdoor, which leads to one all the way here, and which also doesn't have a trapdoor, and then that can emit a redstone signal. So it's wireless redstone, and you don't need to flick pressure plates to detect players anymore. The possibilities are simply endless. Well, technically they're not endless because there aren't infinite possibilities in the game, but we'll call it that. Easily. Now I said I won't be doing anything above, but it's so hard to resist, but I will resist. You're going up here in DS. I kind of have too many stuff in DS right now. Anyway, next up, we have the Warden. Now, this is a completely new feature. Right now, mobs in the game just follow a source. If I have this zombie, I know he's named Warden, but we'll pretend he's a normal zombie for once. He's not actually the Warden. Oh, look, zombie die. If I have the zombie, and then I also, don't worry, I'll be letting him live. We have a villager and a zombie. Then simply the zombie faces the villager and moves. The villager faces away from the zombie and moves. That's their basic pathfinding. However, how the Warden will work is that it doesn't actually see. It's blind, but it sees with vibrations. Kind of like Toph from The Last Airbender, if you've ever seen it. Hint, hint, you really should. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. Essentially, if I have a snowball, and I throw it, then he will seize that's the vibration. He works the same way as the skulk sensors, because they both live in the same biome. So he senses that and goes to it and starts attacking. And if I don't sneak and move, same thing. If a sheep moves, same thing. Pretty much if anything moves, same thing. Therefore, for that reason and that reason only, it has to be, there's so many minigame ideas that could open up, and it's just a really cool mechanic that's not even in the game. Next up, and about halfway through, candles. Now these are found in the deep dark. Well, that's the unofficial name for it, but that's pretty much what they're probably going to call it. They are little decoration aspects, and those are really cool. I can't really see me using them that much because I have to go to a fairly rare biome in order to find them. If they're craftable, though, it'd be completely different. Maybe with a stick and coal or something. Oh wait, that's the way you craft a torch. Okay, scratch that. And there's something like that, and that would be cool. Maybe you can make like candle wax out of clay or something. I don't know how to actually make it in the real world, but that's how I imagine it being made. But as long as it would be open up tons of building opportunities for other people, so I have to say B tier. Next up, we have the Deep Dark. This is the biome we're talking about. Now, it has the Warden and it has Candle Cell, Bump It Up, and also apparently has a new type of stone. We see lots of those in the thing. So there's a new type of stone, but it's not as cool as the Lush Caves or the improved Cave Gen. So it has to be A. And I just forgot to mention something far earlier. With the improved Cave Gen, it can be with any cave. A Lush Cave, a Deep Dark Cave, any cave. Okay, so there. Next up, we have Dripstone Caves. This is the third out of 4 cave types. The original caves, Lush Caves, the Deep Dark Caves, and the Dripstone Caves that have been announced so far. And it's pretty cool. However, it's mostly because of the stuff you find in it. So the thing alone, I would say, is only a B. Next up, stalagmites/stalactites. Now, in the real world, you know what they are. And here's a helpful thing. I forgot. I forgot what it's actually called, but stalagmites hang might from the ground, and stalactites hang tight from the ceiling. So, as you can see, essentially, the stalagmites, if you fall on them, you take tons of damage. With a zombie who's just falling from like 4 blocks, which would normally about, I think, is a half heart of damage, dies. So it's really crazy. And if we reverse this around and build the stalactite, then once again it really damages mobs, but it's different. There are a few things that it has that are very different. The first thing it has is that if you break one of the blocks, all of the blocks come down. This is only true with a few blocks right now. Definitely, most notably, the scaffolding. Using the scaffolding being kind of a good idea, except for it hangs from the top, and if this one's broken, if this one's broken, nothing will happen. But if this one's broken, both of these, this one will come falling down because there's no support. And what's really strange about all of these is that they don't look like Minecraft. They look like some other game because they aren't block-based. So that'll be a huge change and a welcome one. Next up, so I have to rate it A, because mostly stalagmites, they have huge trap potential. You're going along and suddenly a block goes out of the floor and then you land on a stalagmite and die. It would be a really cool trap application and really useful for pretend there's like an area where there's, I know I'm kind of going on with this, pretend these are, it's actually a great feature integration. These are drip leaf plants. You have to jump between them, just like normal parkour, and underneath them is lots of stalagmites and tights, so that if you stay too long on them, or if you stay too long on them, you fall down onto the stalagmites and die. It would be a really cool trap and puzzle application. Maybe you have to make a drawbridge in order to for a drawbridge, instead of using water to lava, which can kind of be inconvenient, you can just have a row of stalagmites. And stalactites, kind of same, but it'll also be really useful for decoration. Yeah, I know that was a lot for just one item, but next one will be a little faster. Now, these two kind of go together, pots and dig sites. So dig sites are a structure where you can most notably find clay fragments and, what's it called again? Infallible resources such as emerald and diamond. The reason why I'm putting an S is fairly simple. It gives you a way to get endgame materials early game, but not much. If you can find one and you can craft a brush and you can excavate carefully, then you have a chance of getting both the experience of a fun time and diamond/emerald/iron or whatever it is. And the other one is pots. How these work is, if you can craft them. We don't actually know the crafting recipe. I suspect it'll be like a flower pot, but have it be wider and stuff into corners, like kind of a boat recipe, but with a boat recipe essentially. But you can put pigment shards, or I forgot what it's called, but I will call them pigment shards for the sake of this, on the pot, and then you can fire them up, and then you get a design. Now, I'm putting this in A just because currently they look really bad. I mean, it's developer art, so it's kind of expected it looks bad, but personally, I don't think they can get much better while still being in the 16-bit limit, because all of Minecraft blocks operate within that. Like you can totally see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, but I think they have a 12 pixel limit, so nothing can really get more detailed than this if they're in the block format. Therefore, they might not be able to look that good, but if they do, it'll be amazing, and if not, it'll still be a great decorational tool. Next up, bundles. Now this is Mojang's alternative to inventory management for early game. And now, I know you're saying there are two ways to say the company name. You can say Mojang, which is how most of the world says it, or you can say the Swedish actual name, Mojang. I know it kind of sounds weird, but it is true. That's their original name, and they're from Sweden, so therefore it makes sense. So anyway, totally getting off topic there. The bundle, essentially, is fairly simple. All that happens is you can store a stack of one item. Well, yeah, so like for example, I can have a stack of fermented spider eye. I don't know why I would, but I could theoretically. But that's normal. But another thing you can do is have half a stack of redstone lamps, pretend it's half a stack, and half a stack of fermented spider eye, and they would both fit into the same bundle. It's a really useful little change, and I'm highly looking forward to it. Lots of people are saying that it kills shulker boxes, but not really. It's meant to be used for early game players or in conjunction with shulker boxes. Oh, now you can start to see my dropped items disappear. Kind of cool. Yeah, because it and shulker boxes can be used to get more storage and have more efficient storage at that. So I have to say S. This is an amazing change for the update and a really cool one. And yes, I know that I'm kind of going overboard with the high tiers. I haven't gone to one lower, but I know that I will. Now, goats. Goats are going to be found in updated mountains, which I'll also be covering soon, and they're fairly simple how they work. All that happens, they're actually hostile mobs in a way. When they see any other mob, if it's not another goat, this is what's confirmed so far. You don't have to know if it'll be true the entire time. They see another mob that isn't a goat, they'll go and rams them, and can cause serious knockback, which is bad when you're on mountains. So they'll be very deadly, but there's only one thing I can really imagine with it. Pretend you have a flush wall. You're just minding your own business when across a dangerous lava pit, when suddenly a goat comes out from behind a wall and knocks you to your doom. I think goat traps would be really funny and really cool. That is, if they're possible. It might be hard to move them or anything else. So I have to say A. Okay, I'm kind of almost finished. This is Overhauled Mountains, and I actually kind of forgot to do something. I know that I won't have a name, but pretend that this full snow block is powdered snow / snow your snow. Jokingly been called that by developers. So, the mountain gen, from what the one screenshot we've seen, it looks super cool. And in developer footage, it also looks like it can be in any biome in the game, so that makes it much better. So then I have to put it, I'm sorry, I have to also put it in an S. Oh, that's the wrong one, S. Now this one is snow, but in reality it's snow your snow / powdered snow. Now it's not really clear if they're actually the same thing or not, but just for sake, I'm going to pretend that they're the same. How it works is it's essentially quicksand, but with snow. It looks like a normal snow block, but when you actually go, you sink behind. So it's really, really cool. Would make for great traps, and will probably kill me a lot of times if I try exploring the mountains. So I have to say, actually, that's probably a mistake. I'll put it in A. It's really cool for traps, but if it was originally intended of a kind of joke feature, so I don't see how it can be really used as more than that. Next up, grass carpet. Now we saw these in the lush caves. Essentially, they have the top grass texture, this texture, except for there's one thing, they're like a carpet, and they can go vertically. So this is a huge deal. Suddenly, there are a few things. One, in often places, what you do is you put, I'm not sure actually how you do this, you put a torch, and then on top of that, you put a carpet. It's a lighting source. I can't turn it at night because it's set to night today infinitely, but it's a hidden lighting source, they call it. So that's pretty big normally, but if you can put it on walls, it's even better, and it actually looks like grass, so you can have better lighting in the landscape instead of having to have lampposts if you want like a natural area. So really, 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 really cool. So S tier. I know I'm doing too much of S tier. We're down to the last two items. Glowberries. Now this is interesting. Glowberries by themselves would be really boring. They're just another weak light source. But there's one really cool thing with glowberries. They're the first farmable light source in the game. Well, the first automatically farmable. Technically, you can like do glowstone bartering in order to get it. But it's like that, and it's one of the first plant-based lighting sources in the game, so it would be really easy to get, and from pictures it emits a big amount of light, and it's pretty, so I have to put it in A. I'm not a particularly good farmer of stuff, not like farms and ranch, but because I am a pretty good rancher. Shameless plug, you should check out my latest video where I actually made a ranch. Yes, I'm not a good farmer of non-animal / crop resources. I'm really bad automatic farmer. But for the people who actually are good and know what they're doing, it'll be a super awesome tool. And finally, arguably the best addition of all, the glow squid. Yeah, you knew where that one was heading. Okay, like and subscribe for more. Okay, this time I remembered before I completely said the intro. You should make sure to share the Discord. You get videos a day or two early, and it's just all around worth it. Okay, this time. Okay, once again, I stopped before I did the entire thing. You should make sure to check out my friend Spot Sign. He's really cool and makes great educational content. Okay, for the last time, this is the Amazing Tristeon signing out.